Welcome, everybody. The story today comes from Chapter 7, On the Beach, taken from the book Heaven Can't Wait, or Can It?, the sequel. The title of the story today is A Spiritual Awakening, Part 3. Our story starts now. When we finished the last time, Erin said she wanted to tell Sandra something. Sandra was curious about what Erin had to say to her. They both got up and walked a short distance toward the patio. All the while, Sandra kept wondering about what Erin had just said to her, what she said about believing what they had prayed about. Once they got where they were going, the patio was more like a porch because it was slightly elevated from the beach sands below. The roar of the ocean waves provided a sense of calmness that they both could appreciate. Then Erin asked Sandra,
"To change the subject, how was your sandwich?"
"Oh, it was very good. Yeah, the sandwich was excellent. But you know what, Erin? To stay on what we've been talking about, I was fed today with spiritual food like I've never had it before. I mean, the spiritual food that I've received from you. I say that, Erin, only because I heard the term spiritual food in a sermon at the church I sometimes go to during Sunday morning worship service. Probably the sermon the minister gave. And although I may not understand everything you said, I still believe, like I said. I mean, I have to believe, Erin. Yeah, I don't have a choice because my life depends upon it."
"Well, I'm glad I'm able to help you. Now, take a seat. I want to show you something."
"Okay."
"Now, Sandra, look at the ocean waves out there, going back and forth onto the beach. Now, picture yourself on the beach, maybe with one foot in the water and the other one on the beach, with your toes being tickled by the sand."
You're funny, Erin.
"All right, Sandra. That wasn't meant to be funny, but I'll take it. Who knows? I may become a comedian one day." But anyway, what I was saying, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. You can do this at home in Detroit, away from the beach. It's simply called transcendental meditation. By doing this, you imagine yourself being on the beach when you may not be there physically. It's supposed to be a way of promoting inner peace and wellness. At least that's what they say. But anyway, we're actually on the beach right now, and I assume you really want the prayer that we did a moment ago to be answered. That is what you want, right?
With those words, a spirit of impatience invaded Sandra's being. In an instant, while staring at those ocean waves, Sandra thought before she responded to what Erin had asked.
Of course I want my prayer answered. Why is she going through all this? And what is this transcendental meditation thing she's talking about?
Then she snapped out of her thoughts and said,
"Oh, yes, Erin. I want the prayer to be answered. And sorry if I seem to be a bit out of it. Daydreaming, I mean."
"Well, yeah, I did notice your eyes were fixed on the ocean, that ocean out there. It was as though you were thinking about something. But you know, the ocean does have a way of hypnotizing you. But no, you'll find, Sandra, this could be too much information for you to absorb anyway."
"No problem, Erin."
"Okay, but Sandra, there's something else I want to tell you that I think you can understand. And it's the key to having your prayers answered. And I think it's something that you can remember too. But then again, before I do that, let's just listen to those ocean waves. And believe me, what I have to say is very exciting, especially for you, Sandra, if you want to be healed of your condition. And I know you do. But for now, let's just sit back and listen to a part of God's creation.
Welcome back. Erin resumed her discussion with Sandra. She said,
Okay, Sandra, enough of listening to the ocean. Let me tell you something that has helped me in my prayer life. You know, I've learned that the key to answered prayers is like something that occurs in a football game. You told me earlier that you are familiar with football, right?
Yes, I love football.
Okay then. There's something called a PAT. That means the point after touchdown. But you really don't have to remember that. Just remember PAT, or just the name Pat, in order to get your prayers answered. Now, the P stands for pray. That is, sincerely pray in your own way, like what we did a few minutes ago, for whatever it is that you want. In your case, the healing of your condition. You can pray by yourself, by the way, as well as with others like you're accustomed to. Also, Sandra, you can pray out loud or silently, deep in your spirit. And you can also pray with another person, like what we did earlier. But remember this, Sandra, regardless how you pray, by yourself or with others, you will get the desired results if, and this is a big if you believe you will receive what you prayed about. Now, you do believe, Sandra, you do believe that you will receive what we prayed about earlier, that you will receive the physical and spiritual healing you desire.
Yes, I do believe it, Erin. But I must admit, I don't understand it. Understand how it could happen.
Well, that's fine, Sandra. You mentioned that earlier. But you don't have to understand how it's going to happen. Just believe that it will happen. That's the key.
Okay.
All right then. This leads me into the second letter, which is the letter A. The letter A is for action. That is, you need to act in some manner that will express the belief that you have. That is to say, act in a way that says you expect your prayers to be answered.
I don't understand, Erin. How do I do that?
I'm glad you asked, Sandra. You know, Sandra, it's more of a mental, even a spiritual thing. And what I'm saying is that it's a spiritual action as opposed to anything you might say or do physically. In other words, you need to sincerely expect in your spirit that you will receive what you prayed for. That is the kind of action I'm talking about. You actively expect to get what you want in your spirit.
Okay.
Now, Sandra, the healing process started when you believed in your spirit as we held hands. That belief was a form of action on your part, as I just said. Now, the action is that you sincerely expect your healing to take place. And I know I'm repeating myself, but it's just that important.